We are live. Hello, welcome everybody. Rajiv ji is with us, kind enough to do this odd day instead of Saturday. For those of you who don't know, Rajiv ji is US immigration lawyer, and we try to do this every Saturday, but today is one of those off days because my events are happening. For those of you also don't know, events are happening. Two of them are already done. Delhi, Ahmedabad done. Rajiv ji, Ahmedabad, I had a lot of doklas and fafadas. Of course, I have to report you on those things.
What do I get out of it?
Nothing. You just get to be jealous.
You eat the good food, I get heartburn.
Right. For those of you who don't know, again, I am doing this event study in USA event, and three cities are left: Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore. And if you go to this link, you can register absolutely free. And there's tons of information. Purdue is also going to be there with me, so they are here in all these events as well. All right, Rajiv ji. So again, I'm assuming you saw that Trump appointed Stephen Miller as his immigration advisor. And maybe if you can do like a quick summary of like, what does this mean? Who, why? I mean, there are a lot of media talking about this, that this could be very bad for us. He's like against H1B, he's against OPT, and so on and so forth. But what are your thoughts from an immigration standpoint?
Well, Stephen Miller himself, a son of immigrants, is quite toxic in his approach towards immigration. The biggest problem in the United States is that our immigration policy has never been data-oriented. We don't sit down and think what is good for the country. So if right now, if all the immigrants were to leave, the country would come to a standstill.
Yeah.
In sciences, medicine, engineering, technology, anything that you can think of, mathematics, from the most menial to the most advanced jobs, without immigrants, we don't have a leg to stand on.
Right.
Also, this country is a country of immigrants. Many years ago, I was in a show with a congressman who was very much against immigration. And he said to me, he says, "Counsel, why should we let immigrants in? Why should we not ask them to leave?" I said, "You're absolutely right. We should have all immigrants leave. First, I'll come and help you pack your bags. You're not a son of this soil. You may have been here 100 years before me or 150 years before me. The only natives here are the ones that you have put in reservations. These are the people you exploited. So don't talk to me about immigrants." And I was watching a British show the other day, and one of the gentlemen there raised a very good question. He says, "I've lived here 30 years. When do I stop being an immigrant?" I told you that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very good question. So many of the H1B holders have been here 10, 15, 13, 14 years. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, what does it mean to have people like Stephen Miller calling the shots on policy? Well, remember, I brought this up earlier that every administration has several conflicting priorities, right? So you'll have people from business like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy who understand the value of people that they can't find here. I can understand if there are US workers available, they should get priority. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I hear all the time in every possible position that employers are having a difficult time recruiting locally. Why? Has the labor force turned lazy? I don't understand the question. I don't understand the problem. I don't know enough about it. That's why we need some data points. What is the truth? Okay. And then policy should be formulated based upon the truths, not truths perceived by one side or the other side. In the first Trump administration, we heard about, this is an interesting term, Kellyanne Conway, the press secretary for or she wasn't the press secretary, sorry. I think Kellyanne Conway was his advisor. So she coined the term for the first time, alternate facts. So we don't want alternate facts. We want true facts, possibly evaluated by a multilateral, at least a bipartisan committee that actually looks at the facts. What is good for USA? Okay. And if we evaluated that, our professional workers will definitely come out at top. Is the system perfect? No. Is the system misused? Absolutely. But then I always take the example of Pentagon, our defense organization.
Yeah.
Pentagon has never passed a budget. When they do an audit for the budget, they always end up they just have not kept books on where the money goes. So do we close down Pentagon? No, we improve the program, right? So at least that's my understanding, that Pentagon has had a lot of difficulties. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who works at Pentagon, and he says, you know what my biggest problem is? I don't know where the money goes. This guy has worked for 20 years in Pentagon. You improve the system. So where there's Stephen Miller, there is also competing priorities.
Yeah.
The universities, hospitals, the businesses. How far will they go? Last time they tried, when Trump was in power, he tried to reserve H1s for the highest paid jobs. And that didn't work out so well. They lost in court. The difference between last time and this time is this. They have all the power centers under their control. The presidency, the Supreme Court, and both houses of legislature. The only saving grace is there might be people who are still reasonable enough not to be too unreasonable. So how does this work out? We deserve our leaders. If we have chosen Trump to be the leader again, we deserve what he brings down on the country. Will he be good for the US? I don't think so. But if there is a huge change and it is for the good, I'm all for it. I just don't think it's possible. What should you do? What should be your plan? And I would say stay the course. We talked about it the last time. I said, nobody can take away your education. And if the education that you're getting in the United States is really good for you, nobody's going to take that away from you. And if you can postpone your plans and watch and see what the government does, sure, do that. A lot of people are coming here after taking huge loans. And if you think that you can build a career in an uncertain environment, you need to think again. Okay, I'm not discouraging people from applying. But if your aim is to get a good education and see where the flow takes you, definitely this is a good country to be in. Still, despite all these problems, despite even having Republicans in power, I think this is still the best country to live in of all the places I've lived. India has great advantages. If I were to ever go back to any other country, I would go back to India. I wouldn't go to Switzerland. I won't go to Canada. I would go back to India. India has many advantages. But as a professional, I found USA had the most to offer me.
Yeah. And how long before we know something? I know last time you mentioned 3 to 6 months before they announce something.
See, here is the problem. Trump had made an election promise that I'm going to deport, 12, 13 million people.
Yeah.
That's not an easy task. Okay.
I mean, he'll have to use local forces. But
not only that, when you start deporting people who are in the workforce, whether legally or illegally, you will bring many businesses to a halt, including Trump's own businesses. Okay. Directly or indirectly through contractors, subcontractors, many of these people are employed. After all, they're working somewhere. Right? So I think there's going to be a big shock to the economy. I think we are going to have an inflation. I think there's going to be definitely a knee-jerk reaction against these kind of short-sighted policies. But I really don't know. I'm not an economist. I cannot say that I understand the implications of these decisions. Looks like a very big task to me. So when you have a focus on deporting people, is it also possible to start focusing on other things? Yeah, it is possible because you are not one person doing the job. However, to tax the system with these huge, huge tasks, I don't know how they're going to do it. So we'll have to wait and watch. That's what I said the first time around. American Immigration Lawyers Association has a page where they're monitoring the developments almost day by day. Right now, it is too early to tell. Once he gets sworn in, once they start releasing some papers, etc., there's supposed to be an executive order coming in. As soon as he comes in, he's going to pass an executive order. Can they use the armed forces to deport people, as he had said? What a bad idea to bring in defense forces into civil enforcement. I think it's terrible. But again, I am not an administrator. I don't have I can't say I have the expertise to deport 12 million people. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Mhm.
So bottom line is, are they going to have enough of a resource treasury to call upon to do all these things, change H1Bs, change green cards? No matter what you say, many of these things cannot be changed without changing the laws. And to change the laws, you have to go through the two chambers. Both of them are under Republican management right now.
Yeah.
The only difference is Senate tends to be more about compromises rather than ideologies.
Do they still have to go through the commenting period?
No, that is for regulations. So let's separate the two things. The way it works is, on top of the country's governance is the Constitution of the United States. But what is the Constitution? Constitution is interpreted by the Supreme Court and the other courts in the country. Because he has a power center in the Supreme Court as well, we've seen some very odd judgments from the Supreme Court. So we are concerned that it's going to, whatever he decides to do might be supported by the Supreme Court. But by the time it gets to the Supreme Court, it's a 2-year cycle. Okay. So anything he does outside the boundaries of the Constitution will be challenged, including what he was trying to say, that a child born in the US is not a US citizen unless he's born to legal immigrants. Okay. Not even H1Bs and F1s. Okay.
That's crazy.
That's not 14th Amendment. The plain reading of the 14th Amendment says anybody born in the US is a US citizen. And there's a string of Supreme Court decisions. But if Roe versus Wade, the abortion decision, can be overturned, then so can the 14th Amendment string of decisions. But there's got to be a reason for it. Even if it is a thin veneer of reasonableness, there's got to be some reasonableness. So to change the Constitution is the most difficult thing, but to interpret it is not. Below that come the statutes. The statutes are passed by both chambers, House of Representatives, Senate. They have to come together, agree. Then it goes to Trump for signatures. Okay. Now that can take months or years. There are emergency legislations possible, but I am not sure these are the only priorities they have. They're trying to reverse so many things. Third thing that is the regulations. Regulations are passed by the agencies. Okay. When you want to change the regulations, you have to go through the notice and comment period, what you were talking about. Okay. Now, there are emergency procedures available there also, but if you try to push it too much, you can be reversed in courts. To remove a regulation, you go through something called deregulation. And deregulation is just like making a new regulation. Okay. Below that, which is the most dangerous, is policy. You can change the policy with a stroke of a pen. Of course, there is challenge possible there also. So Constitution, most difficult. Statutes, less. Regulations, lesser. And policy, the least difficult.
Got it. And what kind of policy changes he can make? Like, what does policy...
Muslim country ban. If you were born in Pakistan, Bangladesh, you were born in XYZ country, you can't come to the United States.
Okay, got it.
He tried that the last time. They can, what they tried to do with the H1B regulations, they tried to create a new policy which actually, if I remember correctly, encroached upon the regulations. So the court said, no, you can't do that. You can't reserve H1Bs to the highest paid people. That's not the scheme of the statute. Okay. So
What about OPT? That's also policy, or is that?
OPT is policy. OPT is policy. But there is a regulation for it. They have to deregulate. Some they can do by policy. Some they have to do by regulation.
Okay.
So OPT, STEM OPT, these are all part of the regulations. I don't see how they can remove it just with policy. They'll have to deregulate. Okay. If I remember correctly, H4 EAD is also regulation. It's not policy.
Okay.
Okay, I could be wrong. I don't remember about H4 EAD, but STEM OPT regulations we read all the time. It's a part of the regulation.
And the childbirth is the Constitution.
That's the Constitution. That's the most difficult one.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. That was very helpful. I know there's a lot of people nervous, but again, like we've said, we will come on live and we'll.
Last time Trump was here, he lost 87% of the cases, approximately over 80% of the cases in immigration field. That's a huge number to lose.
Yeah. Okay. Bunch of questions ready. We will get started. And again, for those of you who are just joining, I want to remind events are happening. If you haven't registered. Saturday is Hyderabad, Sunday is Mumbai, and then the next Saturday is Bangalore.
So what do you have against Punjab, man?
I was in Delhi. I mean, Punjab. Person from Punjab actually did come to Delhi. So that was good. Nothing against Punjab.
I think you discriminate against North Indians.
No, I'm not discriminating against. I went to Delhi. What do you mean?
Talking sometime, Yogi.
Yeah.
We may not look like it, but some of us do like to go to college.
I agree. I mean, I believe you. There were actually a lot of law questions on law, and I said they asked me, "Can you ask Rajiv?" And I said, "Yeah, come to session. He can answer." Because I was like,
no problem. Bolo. What can we
do? Okay. Will going for O1 stamping with I-140 approved will be issue?
No, because you see, this is a long-standing interpretation of the law, Ahmad. I think you'll be all right.
No. My wife is on H4 EAD and studying masters and doing an internship. Her EAD is still valid until 2027. Given the H4 EAD uncertainty, should she change to F1 and utilize OPT, or can she continue on H4 EAD?
So to get OPT, double check this. From what I remember, you have to be a full-time student and on F1 only for one semester. So it's a weird law. Okay. So if I remember correctly, to qualify for OPT, you have to have been a full-time student for at least two semesters.
Two academic.
One academic year.
Yeah.
However, not all of that academic year, if I remember correctly, has to be on F1. So you can be on F1 in the last semester and still be okay. So you convert from H4 to F1 and you still get OPT. Double check that. But I remember looking at it and I thought, that's weird. So that's kind of one thing you need to remember. So how does that apply to you? So what if she continues on H4 and if necessary in the last semester, she can change to F1? That's what I'm thinking. Because you can do it premium processing, right? Unless he comes and removes premium processing, then we've got all kinds of problems. Then, in case if you're that worried, might as well do F1. Personally, I would wait. I would wait.
Okay. I'm on H1B and planning on moving back to F1 for PhD, which will be fully funded. But in general, how much of a bank balance should I show at the time of the change of status within US?
Well, when you say fully funded, does that include your books and your living expenses? So it depends. I mean, that's something you're going to have to work out with your DSO. Prashantji.
Okay. My H1B got approved from India, but I switched before stamping. Can I transfer that H1B to another employer before expiry and have it valid for 3 years and come to United States?
When he says I switched before stamping, this is incomplete information. So when you got the H1B approved, were you in USA or not? Okay. Because you got it switched, approved from India, but were you in the United States? And when you say I switched before stamping, does that mean you did an H1B transfer to another employer? I don't really know. I don't understand the question.
Okay. Let's go to another one. Can someone with H1B and being unemployed for more than 60 days stay without being
No.
payroll, and for how long?
No. Can you stay? Sure. But would that be a problem? Probably. So when you say can, it implies capacity. Do you have the capacity to stay? But is it good for you? The answer is no. Okay. And by the way, after 180 days from the date you stopped, or date your I-94 was withdrawn, you could be subject to 3-year bar from re-entering the United States. And if you stay 1 year, you could be barred for 10 years. So be careful with that. Leave the US if you can't find a job or convert to B1, B2. You want to know the details about how to change to B1, B2. You can do 2 things. One, you can go to my blog on immigration.com. And on the very top ribbon, there is an entry for Rajiv's blog. I think 3rd or 4th page tells you how to apply for B1, B2, what kind of documents you should attach. And you can also Google my name, Rajiv S. Khanna, Economic Times, and you'll see my page on Economic Times where I've written a bunch of articles. I think the most recent article is about how to convert to H1B, from H1B to B1, B2, and back again to H1B. It discusses all the details. So I would just do a B1, B2 transfer.
Okay. If I'm in United States with an H1B approval, do you think there are any drawbacks with going to Canada to get my passport stamp? I'm originally from Ghana and I came to US on F1 visa.
And there's only one drawback. If you get denied your visa, then you'll have to fly to Ghana from there and get your visa stamping done in Ghana. Okay. But why would you be denied? I mean, I don't understand your case. If your case is relatively stable and straightforward, applying in Canada is a great way to go. Why not?
Okay. I'm on initial H1B, but I may have to go to India in urgency. And I assume my employer won't give me unpaid leave or may terminate employment if I go outside India or not available for work. My stamping is still pending. I'm concerned that if I go to India and lose job, what would happen to my stamping? Will I be able to come back? What are my options?
So, Mullah, you have actually crossed the most difficult part. You have gone past October 1st. You have a few paychecks. So even if they revoke your H1B, you should be able to transfer that. And when you transfer it, go apply for visa again. This visa you should abandon, because if you don't have a job, you shouldn't go for visa stamping.
Okay. But should you go to India?
Keep looking for another job. Do an H1B transfer while you are in India. Go for H1B visa stamping with the new job and come back.
Okay. And that is if they terminate him. If they don't, and
I find this a very dangerous way to describe somebody's job loss. They terminated me. They didn't terminate you. They terminated your job. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely accurate.
Okay. What are the impacts on H4 EAD? We don't know yet.
We've been talking about that, Bhavnaji.
Okay. I have cap subject visa from non-profit organization, and my new for-profit employer is applying to transfer it. Is there any additional documentation needed to clarify that this is not exempt?
So, Sahilji, this is an easy situation, because even though you are working for, let's say, a non-profit organization, you have a regular H1B with them. Transferring a regular H1B, it doesn't matter whether it comes from a non-profit or a regular employer. And by the way, not all non-profits are quota exempt, only some are. So transferring an H1B that was won through the lottery, whether the employer is a non-profit or for-profit, is just a simple process, just as simple as any other H1B transfer.
And if I work on concurrent H1Bs, cap subject, and a cap exempt H1B, how green card process works? Any cautions or issues?
No questions. Just have a good lawyer. Make sure they know what they're doing. Not a big deal.
Nice. Okay. Priority date is current on TD status. What is TD?
It's Canadians and Mexican treaty national. They are dependents. TDs.
Okay, got it. I-140 holding employer not ready to share
Sub J.
supply
Sub J.
J4. Yeah, advance parole
You
filing.
can't
Okay.
self-file. You cannot self-file sub J. You can definitely self-file 765 and AP.
Okay.
You can do 765 and AP, but you can't do supplement J by yourself.
Okay. I'm gonna skip
And can
all
you do
the.
it 6 months later? Sure. But I have a case today, only this happened. I have a case where I had told the employee, I said, file the supplement J, even though it's not required. I suggest you file it as quickly as possible. That's what happened. This guy did not file it for whatever reason. I'm sure he was not trying to ignore my advice. It can happen. Life takes over. So we had filed his advance parole. It came back denied. Why? Because the I-140 was withdrawn, so 485 is withdrawn. That's not true. That is not, because once 180 days are over, government should not do that. So that's an illegal decision by the government. But it still causes a lot of hassle for the people. So he asked me, should I stop working? I said, no, they haven't revoked your EAD. They haven't sent me a notice. Before they revoke a 485, the process is they should send me a notice of intent to revoke. Give me 30 days to respond, at least 10. Give me some time to respond, and then only you can revoke. So they have not done any of that. So some fool just decided they could revoke it because the I-140 was withdrawn. So you want to watch out for the fools. Therefore, you want to file supplement J as quickly as possible.
Got it. Okay. I'm gonna skip all the what will happen to XYZ visa because we don't know yet. So we'll wait for the announcements. Official.
CPT is a regulation. CPT is a regulation.
Nice. Okay. If I want to do PhD in Europe after my master's in United States, assuming my H1B gets picked in the next attempt, how do I proceed?
I don't know anything about Europe.
Yeah.
Well, assuming my H1B gets picked up, how do I proceed? So I'm not sure what you're asking, Praneetji. If you're asking about, can I save my place in the lottery and still go to school?
I think that's that's what I'm assuming.
Yes, if you stay for a few pay stubs after October 1st, get a few pay stubs, and then you can quit and go, you will have the option to come back to H1B anytime, at least during the next 6 years. And if you come under something called remainder option, right now it's forever. So you would have reasonably protected your H1B. Take a few pay stubs after October 1st.
Nice. Okay. I did pharmacy in my home country and came to do my master's in public health here. However, I just got a job as a pharmacist. Will that be an issue for an interview question like, how did you get the job? This is for that H1B guy wanted to go to Canada from Ghana.
Well, if you have multiple qualifications, why shouldn't you take advantage? The only thing I would caution you about is never lie about anything you are asked. The truth can hurt you, but only a little bit. But any prevarication, any embellishment of the truth, it could hurt you in a way, including permanent bar from entering the US. So don't try to lie your way out of anything. Just be truthful.
I'm on H1B, about to start my perm process. How will this impact my green card in Trump's administration?
There's a whole set of statutes and regulations they have to go through. So if you get it filed, you'll be all right.
Nice. Can I travel to India on STEM OPT from January to February? Will re-entry be an issue after the change in administration?
So, Hamid Saab, unless you are from a possible Muslim ban country, and again, even for the so-called Muslim ban, they actually lost in court, didn't they? So I don't know what will happen this time around. I am not so sure I can advise you to travel or not to travel because we just don't know how quickly things will move. So, last time also they did that. They were able to make some changes, but not a lot. But the fear of change was so much that people suffered. So they created more suffering than pain.
If I take my CPT, does that cause problems to OPT?
Yeah. Did you read the regulations or if you just talk to your DSO, there's a certain number of months that you can work on a CPT and not lose your OPT. Interestingly, if you do it after OPT, there is no problem because you already used the OPT.
Got it. Okay. Can Article 14 be misinterpreted without a constitution amendment? And what happens to it if it is taken back? How do they give citizenship back to the children of immigrants?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. It's a little garbled. But that's what I said. I said Article 14 can be reinterpreted, just like they did Roe versus Wade, which was the law of the land for decades. Can they do it? Sure, they can. But will it be easy? No. There is no veneer of reasonableness on that. So while the Supreme Court is very heavily tilted towards the Republican ideology, there is a limit to which they can go. At least I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
After all, we are trained as lawyers, and there's only a certain amount we are willing to bend interpretations.
Yep. Want to know your thoughts on F1 visa renewal while on STEM OPT. No issues in the last 5 years, through and through all legal jobs with proper reporting.
It's very difficult to predict. The only thing I can tell you is the closer you are to the perfect student, the better off you are. What is a perfect student? Somebody who's been focused on their career, went from good school to good school to good school, maintained an excellent grade point average, etc., showing that you are a serious student, working for good companies. So that are good jobs. Company can be lousy, but the job can be good. So I think that's the only thing I can recommend, but that's common sense, not law. Anybody will tell you your chances are better if you're a better student.
And do they still have to do the interview, or can it be Dropbox?
It can be Dropbox, but they can call them in for an interview.
Okay. EAD is approved, but in USCIS portal showing the tracking number assigned is unavailable.
But if you have the EAD in hand, there's nothing to worry about.
Okay. I stopped following this. Okay. I think we should know our value. Let them know what they want. I only wonder.
Well,
Okay.
They're not really inviting you, are they? So you don't want to come, you don't come.
Yeah.
Nobody's sending you emails. Please, Yashji, come and study here. If they are, you are lucky. If they are not, look for other opportunities.
Yeah. What do you think about the traveling on OPT, STEM OPT, any issues we might face at the point?
No, I don't see. Refer them to that graphic
map
we have.
Yeah.
So you can also go to my LinkedIn page. By the way, guys, I am still getting LinkedIn requests with people whose identities are not verified. I 90% of the times cannot connect with people who send me a LinkedIn request and have not verified their identity. Okay.
Yeah.
So please just make sure that you do that before you send me a request.
Okay. I'm on STEM OPT last H1B attempt. What will be the scenarios for day one CPT degree? Will it be affected by mass deportation or new policies?
Deportation is not for people who are in legal status. They can't deport you.
Yeah.
They can take away some of the benefits, but that takes time, as we discussed. And STEM OPT, curricular practical training, these are parts of regulation now.
Yeah. Okay.
So you should have plenty of notice. It should be at least 6-8 months notice before they can change these. I hope. Even if they move very fast, it'll still be a few months.
Yeah. I have H1B STEM valid till 2026, but never joined the company and never entered the USA before. Can I use the H1B to transfer to another employer in future, or do I need to be in the lottery?
There was a 2023 case that said you cannot. Can you try? Sure. Can USCIS 2 years later come back and revoke it? Yes. If I were you, I would first try the lottery again. That removes all doubt.
Okay. All right. I'm in first year of OPT. Currently, I'm working professional. I'm planning to go to India on January, come back in 3 weeks. Is there any problem in
We just talked about it. Just give them the link to what we discussed.
Yeah, I'm going to post the link. Nice. Okay. Changing H1B low wages is absolutely bonkers. There are professional which by nature are lower paid as compared to tech.
I agree with you. That's part of the reason it didn't meet the common sense test either. So I think it's bonkers. I agree with you.
Is green card for university graduates come under policy, regulation, constitution?
Well, all of them. So there are some components that probably go to the Constitution. There are also 99% of it goes to policy and regulation. Well, policy, regulation, and statutes. Don't miss the statutes, which are very, very difficult to change. Not that easy.
Apparently, automatic green cards will be issued to the one graduating from top university. What is considered as a top?
So don't believe everything Trump says. He just said that in God knows what kind of mood he is in. He said something somewhere in some kind of a talk show. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I think we talked about this, but if Trump invoked day one executive order to stop birthright citizenship for immigrants and it gets challenged in court, how soon the decision would be made?
I'm pretty sure it will be stayed, Lokeshji, because what is required for a stay? First thing, stays are not easy to get, but first thing you have to prove is that you have a good case on the merits, that if the case is heard, chances are good that you will win. And here, because there's a string of Supreme Court decisions, I think it's a good case to make that we will probably win on this case. Second, if stay is not granted, there'll be irreparable harm to me. A bunch of kids will be born who should have the benefit of knowing that they are US citizens. Their parents should know they are US citizens, and we won't, just because this case is left hanging. So until this case is decided, we should stay all these this order. So all the kids born in that duration should be US citizens. Once the decision, if it is against us, then that decision gets implemented. That's a logical conclusion.
Yeah. All right. Assuming I get my H1B, I get H1B picked and I work for 1 year and I go to Europe for my PhD, can I come back? And yes.
Absolutely. I think we just answered the question.
Yeah. I lost my passport in USA, currently here in India for restamping. I changed my university to day one CPT, currently pursuing my first master's. What difficulties will I face for restamping?
I don't know, but it certainly is not a great case. It can be a problem for you.
My wife got H1B approved and we need to schedule the H1B interview in Germany as we live here. Me coming on H4, can I still work for a company outside of US and travel now and then to Germany?
My guess is not, but I'm just making a guess, Mr. Reddy.
But technically, that would not be legal, right? Like, because H4...
That's why I said I don't think it can be done, because you're working on US soil. Now, there is an argument on the other side. The argument is, why is this law in place or this policy in place? It is to protect US workforce. US workforce is not going to apply for a German job. Okay. But then the counter to it is, if you can work on it from Germany, so can a US worker. So, law is never that straightforward. You can never say, oh, this is the way it is. There's always another argument. Ultimately, it's a matter of balancing equities. So that's why I say chances are, because it's on US soil, somebody could say, well, you can't be doing this. This is illegal.
Yeah. Okay. My daughter was born in March 2020 within US and her passport expires December 2025, given Trump's stance on denaturalization.
They can't do anything for the children already born and acquired citizenship. They can't do anything to them.
Okay. I have a pending NOIR from 2.5 years and I have applied for H1B transfer and it is also pending from 4 months. Should I be worried about this new administration?
Yeah, so I don't know what the NOIR is about, Notice of Intent to Revoke. I don't even know what case are you talking about. But the earlier the resolution, the better off you are, because Steve Miller is coming and guy is a nut job.
Okay. I work in India, never came to USA. My H1B got approved from India, but I switched before stamping as employer wasn't moving forward with stamping.
Yeah, this is you should go through the lottery again you may be able to transfer, but then you're also subject to revocation at any time. You never know what they're going to do. So I don't like bringing in people who have that kind of a sword hanging over their heads. I could be removed from the US. I could have my H1B taken away from me, not removed from the US. So go through the lottery, and if that doesn't work, try to do a transfer. If you're able to get a transfer, keep in mind you could have that taken away. So plan accordingly.
Okay. Could Trump's potential return to office in 2025 affect my plans to apply for US F1 student visa for fall 2025? I'm concerned about possible changes to visa policies.
Let's talk in March, April 2025.
Yeah.
We'll know better where we are.
I am currently in Canada and my employer is looking to file L1 visa for me. Given options, what would be the best bet for me as an Indian national, EB1C or EB2 national interest waiver?
EB1C, if you are India born, 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years at the most.
Nice. Okay. All right. My H1B is approved. I'm planning to go to stamping in Jan 2025. Is no further question? Well,
Yay.
good luck. Please send a we are on multiple meetings and cannot keep up. So, okay. I have no idea how to do that, but
that's your problem.
I will figure it out next time. Okay. What will be the effect on cap exempt positions, and will there be any issues in H1B and I-140?
I doubt there'll be any impact because cap exempt are still cap exempt. See, Tejas ji, when they start tinkering with the structure of a framework, I don't know where all they'll remove bricks from. So it is difficult for me to say H1B framework is being tinkered with. There are so many moving parts. I don't know how they are going to move what they are going to remove from the structure. So my feeling is this is one of the most beneficial aspects of H1B, cap exempt positions. For universities, hospitals, schools, they use them the most.
Would you recommend staying on H1B or moving to green card EAD?
Stay on H1B because green card EAD is always a backup available.
Okay. Nice. Can someone with approved EB2 national interest waiver think of doing PhD at US, considering PhD degree needs some time on campus requirement?
You see, Jayaji, the thing is, the student visa is a single intent visa. It's a non-immigrant visa. So if you have an I-140 approved, can it become a potential problem for travel, visa stamping, etc.? Sure. Under the Biden administration, they were trying to be more reasonable. But under Trump administration, what will they do? I don't know. So it is definitely up in the air.
Okay. Hello, sir. My initial H1B is approved. Planning to go for stamping in Jan 2025. Change my job in March 2025. Then go to India in June. Should I go for stamping again since I changed my employer?
So if you already have an H1B stamp, that same stamp is good for any employer. So let's say that IBM hired you and you got a 2-year H1B stamp or a 3-year H1B stamp. 10 days later, you change your job to Oracle. 20 days later, you change your job to, I don't know, Caterpillar. Okay. Do you need to change visa? No, the same visa can be used for any of these employers, even though it says IBM, but it can be utilized for any employer.
Okay. My mother-in-law is in United States on B1, B2 visa since November 7th, and I need her to stay till June next year. Would you recommend applying for extension before the administration changes?
November 7th of which year? Is he talking about November 7th of next year? It can't be.
No, he's saying like now, November 7th, say
She's
June
good till June next year. Okay. I'm not sure I have any firm thoughts on that because there is a limit to how early you can apply. I forget what that limit is. But if you want her to stay, I have my concerns about B1, B2 extensions also. I usually don't recommend them for people unless they are on H1B status and then converted to B1, B2. Extensions should be avoided because they cause all kinds of other issues. But if you have to do it as early as you legally can. Read the forms and the instructions on the forms.
What would be your advice for a student who wants to come in fall 2026?
Are you coming for a degree or for a job?
I'm assuming degree just because it says fall 2026. But
Because if you're coming for a degree, then how does it matter?
yeah, I think now no changes. You will have a lot
coming for a job, and so many people are coming for a degree and a job. Nothing wrong with that, but you have to prioritize. You say, okay, even if they, first of all, nobody can be so unreasonable as to hopefully to take away all benefits of being a student in the U.S., including exploring a career in the U.S. Because there were some recommendations from Steve Miller et al. That all students should be made to go home for 2 years, then come and look for a job.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
What nonsense is that? Who wants to come back? If I get a job and I work there for 2 years, I don't think I would ever want to come back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way I think about when I think from the perspective.
It's like J1.
Yeah, J1 type. So I personally think that you need to focus. What do you want? If you're just thinking of building a career and don't care where you're getting a degree from, you might have a difficult decision. But if you say, okay, I'm in one of the top universities, I'm going to get a great degree, great education, chances are you also have a good career.
Yeah. I came across a post on Facebook group regarding updating I-94 with new passport details. My passport is expiring in December and I have got it renewed.
I have no such information.
Okay.
I know that CBP had started putting in an endorsement on I-94s that employers should go check the veracity of the I-94 on their website, etc. But yesterday they said, no, they're not going to do that anymore. That creates more problems than solves. So that endorsement is gone.
I'm fall 2023 student on F1 visa and have accidentally washed and dried my passport with visa stamp in it. I can read everything. Passport is bent. I have plans to go to India. Will this be a problem?
Best thing is take it to a travel agent or to airlines. See if they can read the passport. If they feel that they can read the passport, it can be scanned. You should be okay. And next time, don't wash your passport.
It happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't I know it?
Have you washed your passport as well?
No. I don't need a passport. I don't go anywhere. I stay right where I am.
That's true. You don't trust in the pilot enough
I don't like pilots much.
My F1 visa was refused twice a year ago, and I want to try for fall 2025. Now, with the new government, will I face any issues during visa entry?
You faced issues before with the old government, right, Sri Ramji? So it's not like you haven't had issues before. तो अभी भी आ जाएंगे तो आ जाएंगे. ठीक है. It's all right.
Just wanted to thank you for taking care of my green card. I know the pain you and your team took on my case. Fought with. Okay. Well, thank you, Rajiv.
Vishnuji, you are a great guy to have. We enjoyed working with you. Plus all the creativity that went into your own company, all those things. It was very nice to see that. It's always good to see people succeed, no matter which country they are from, whether they are from the US or whether they are from India. So it's good to see people succeed. So well done, sir. And it was a pleasure to work with you.
Amazing. Cool. Automatic green cards, we already talked about this.
Well, let's hope so. I would love to see that. But remember, Yuri, I told you that this was actually a law like this was passed. Essentially, if you got a PhD or a master's from USA, you automatically pretty much got a green card because we were going to a point system. This was back a few decades.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
yes.
I read through 900 plus pages of the law. I was like, okay, this is a good law. And then Senate passed it and the House Republicans tanked it. That law never saw the light of the day. It's a good law. Very nicely drafted.
Okay. Sorry, I skipped to this one. I have a non-profit cap exempt H1B, and I also have H1B from profit employee, which
Yeah,
I-9
use the approval where you are working full time. If you're working both full time, then take a pick.
My H1B is approved. I moved from F1 to H1B and don't have H1B stamp yet. My employer started my perm process, and if I get my I-140 approved before getting H1B stamp, will this be a problem?
No, H1B is a dual intent visa. Having a green card pending on an H1B is not a problem for an H1B visa.
Okay. I'm planning to do masters in fall 2025. Does the current situation makes it worse? What are the prerequisites to be made before I fly to USA?
So we talked about that, Darwin. Again, if you want a degree, come anytime. If you want a degree and career, think about it. If you want only a career, think very hard about
it. Yes. Do you think the new administration will do merit-based immigration system instead of the current form?
See, immigration is so messy. Part of it is there are so many competing interests. Is it good for the US? Is it bad for the US? And every lobby has their own concerns. I think our social security system needs younger generation to work. And if we can't find workers in the US, even if the official figures are 4% unemployment, that's really too low. We need workers. Okay, the question is which sectors, what kind of workers, where do we want them from? So all these things need to be decided. I don't know how it's going to play out. Just making guesses.
Yeah. I'm currently on F1 status. If I get my EAD through adjustment of status, will I lose my F1 status? Merit to LPR, have my biometrics tomorrow?
Not at all. Not at all. Go for it. Get your EAD.
What is LPR?
Oh, no, hold on. Will he lose his F1? Okay, so this is another interesting problem. So the way it works is the government says some visas are dual intent visas, like H1B, L1, H4, etc., right? Some visas, like student visas, you cannot have immigrant intent. Okay? But here is the problem. Government says you can't have an F1 and an adjustment of status at the same time, but they've never said what happens to the F1. Does it get automatically invalidated? To the best of my knowledge, no. Okay. But if you get an EAD, you don't need F1 status anymore. With the EAD, you can do everything that you can do on F1. You can check with your school, your DSO, and say, look, I no longer want to be on F1. Here is my AOS EAD. Is there a problem with me attending school? And you'll see there should not be. To the best of my knowledge, everything that you can do. And if you find something different, drop me an email. Okay. My email is easy to remember, help@immigration.com. help@immigration.com.
What's married to LPR? LPR stand for?
Lawful permanent resident, green card holder.
Acha, okay. So he's going on GC green card, matlab green card EAD.
Yeah, so the question is, if I get the EAD from my adjustment of status marriage to a green card, will that violate my F1 status? And the answer is, who knows? Technically, the moment you file the adjustment of status, that cannot coexist with an F1. But what happens to the F1, no one knows. But then again, it's a supercilious debate. It's an unnecessary debate. If I can do everything on EAD that I can do on F1, why should I worry?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do a lot more on EAD actually.
Yep. Okay. I lost. Okay. I'm on OPT working for a university. They are ready to sponsor my H1B, no lottery, but I'm hoping to change to corporate next year. Is it okay to not file my H1B in next 2 years and file it in third year?
See, Mr. Rao, you have to keep applying for a lottery. Okay. So it's okay for you to join another employer 2-3 years later. That's not a problem. But you need to be out of the lottery rut. If you are going to a regular employer who's not a university, they're not cap exempt. So you have to go through the lottery. Keep applying for the lottery.
It looks like it's a Miss, not Mr. But
I can't see. Oh, yes. Sorry, Ms. Rao. Nagashri. Yeah, Nagashri is a lady's name.
yeah. All right. We will do couple questions and then we'll call it. I have non-profit cap exempt H1B, and I also have. I think we already covered this.
Yeah.
So
Why are you repeating questions? Are you running out of questions?
he has posted like 10 times, so I had to go through.
He's very smart.
Yeah, I'm currently on OPT. My STEM OPT starts in last week of Jan 2025. Can I travel to India within this period of time, as I have just applied for my STEM OPT while it's still not approved?
Refer to the mind map.
I will send you guys the mind map. All right, we'll do one last question. I have H1B
Counselor.
counselor processing. Okay.
Counselor is CONSULAR, brother.
Okay. I'm planning to travel to India. I'm on STEM OPT. Can I do the stamping? Will there be any problem if I go for change of status?
So you're planning to get an H1B stamping. Why not? Are you trying to get F1 student stamping? Because that could be an issue. I don't really know. But can you get an H1B stamping? Absolutely. So what is the strength of your H1B? You should discuss with your lawyers. If it's a strong H1B, might as well convert to H1B, get rid of this F1 OPT.
Okay. I heard if I use my EAD through AC, I will be out of status.
No, there is nothing to be scared about. Okay. First of all, if you have an adjustment of status pending, you can never be out of status as long as the adjustment of status is pending. Okay. So what is the worst that can happen? They can say, well, when you file for AOS, your F1 is gone. I've heard something going on, but I never saw any policy on this. So my point was, so what? I should still be able to go to school with my AOS pending. So what you can do is contact your DSO, ask them, look, I have an adjustment of status pending. What does that do to my F1? They'll probably tell you nothing. And then that's your answer.
Okay. We'll take this one last thing. If Trump signs executive order to end birthright citizenship, as he says on day one, will it be immediately effective, or the executive order will come into force, will have some time frame to come into effect?
Well, if we were talking about somebody who was reasonable, I would have said there should be a few months' time. But this is not a reasonable administration. That we don't even expect. Okay. But will he get sued right away? Absolutely. Will we get stay fairly easily? I think so.
Okay. All right. There's a wife question, so I'll take that and then we'll go for
Why are you so scared of wives, man?
No, it's family-based questions. I like to help.
You are a brave man.
I am very scared of my wife. So
you may not be brave, but you are smart.
Yes. My wife on H4 is the dental residency course. She will work in a university as a faculty. I'm on H1B. Should get my I-140 by then. If H4 is removed, what are the other options for her to work?
Faculty, H1B, no quota for H1B for faculty people. She'll can get her H1 right away. She doesn't have to go through the lottery, no?
Yeah. Okay, one layoff question. Sorry, I keep saying last question, but this I promise.
I don't mind.
Got laid off on H1B visa. In the current job market, is it good to switch to B2 visa? How easy it is to go back to H1B?
A lot of people are going back. Happens all the time. But there are people who are getting second B1, B2 extensions also. So B1, B2 is a good option.
Will applying for DV visa for a UK-born Indian citizen will cause any problem with my F1 visa interview possibly in the near future? India's 160, do I need to disclose this information?
I hate to tell you, I don't do DV cases. I have done 1 or 2 DV cases in 35 years of my practice. And that too, just as a favor to somebody. So I don't really know all the law. But as far as I understand, they don't consider this to be a negative for students. But double check it because I'm not an expert in this. And also, I think you have to disclose it.
Okay. All right. I think that is it. Thank you, Rajiv ji. This Saturday we are not meeting. I will be in Hyderabad, but I will ping you next week sometime. Maybe we'll do another Wednesday. I don't know.
What are you serving? Are you serving biryani in Hyderabad?
We are possibly going to go to a restaurant. We are also going actually to a visa temple. Did you know that Hyderabad is a visa temple? Seriously, I'm not kidding. there is a visa temple. People take their passport and then they like put the passport, do the 11 rounds. I just found out like recently, like 2 days ago. So
Can you send me a picture of the visa temple?
I will. Yes, I will.
Hey guys, I don't want to make fun of you. Whatever gives you peace of mind, go for it. But it's funny.
Yeah. It is true. It is true. People actually go. It's very popular. I did not know that, but anyway, so we are going there, and then I've heard Paradise Biryani is where we are going because it's supposed to
Go
be.
to Pullarao for their mithai. Pulla Reddy, not Pullarao, sorry, Pulla Reddy.
Okay, I will.
And do not bring me any mithai. I will have you assassinated because you know how my problem with mithai is.
Yeah. I remember.
Leave no enemy behind.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Chalo. We'll talk soon. Yeah. Bye.
Or do I have to stay on?